through a number of challenges, but opportunities as well. Whether we want to accept it or not, the fact speaks for themselves. As an institution, we have challenges, but more than likely and more than anything else, we've had great success. We sometimes tend to forget. We sometimes are so much into the forest, we cannot really see all the trees that make up such a great forest. But Thomas Nelson is a great place. We're a great institution. And we need to make certain that everyone within this institution realize that every single individual plays a critical part in the success of Thomas Nelson. We begin the semester with pride in the accomplishments of our students, our faculty, and our staff. Results of your hard work, coupled with the intellectual creativity and knowledge, are clear when we reflect on where we are today. I commend all of you for your dedication and tireless efforts. Again, commending all of you for what you've done. Here's just some of the achievements, and I emphasize just some of the achievements in terms of academic and academic support, in terms of how we support the teaching and learning experience here at Thomas Nelson. We talk about, in 2004, we had 1,300, a little over 1,300 students enrolled in 187 courses in distance learning. Again, a part of our mission, preparing students for the future. Distance education is going across not only this nation, but internationally as well. But because we made that commitment, because we decided to go there, in 2006, 2007, almost triple the number of students are enrolled in courses in distance education. But what did we do? We added distance learning staff. But did we stop there? No. We gave stipends to faculty to develop and teach these courses. But did we stop there? No. We provided training throughout the year as well as summer workshops. But did we stop there? No. We provided state-of-the-art equipment, training, laptop, tablets, etc. But did we stop there? No. Again, before we continue to move forward, and as we continue to move forward, we need to provide the support, the finances, the resources to help improve the quality of life for our students and help emphasize teaching and learning. People may forget that in the last 4 years we've added 16 new faculty members. We've added 57 plus new adjunct faculty positions since 2004. Student and faculty have participated in international abroad programs. We've had interactive design certification program launched, and also we've implemented new occupational and technical programs. But we continue. There are milestones for Thomas Nelson as we reflect on the achievements of our students, our faculty, our staff, and our administrators, and also those founders of our great college. Some of the things, as people were talking about, we've renovated the photography lab, 4 science labs, departmental offices in Hastings, Griffin, and Whip Halls on the Hampton campus. We approved 14 new academic programs and courses just in the past year. Again, emphasizing teaching and learning. 20 of our faculty members attended the Teaching Online Project top program for distance learning faculty and were certified as VCCS distance instructors. We've conducted Camp Connected workshops for faculty and staff. But not only that, we've increased support staff to academic departments. Every academic department here, every academic department has a part-time evening staff member, a P14, to assist the department and also the evening students, but also the adjuncts. They were not here 4 years ago. And I'll just give one department, I'll just grab it in terms of the nursing program. This is from the VCCS data in terms of the cohort of 2003, 2004, now to 2008. We have increased the number of nursing students by over 22%. Nursing is a shortage in our nation, but we've taken the stance here at Thomas Nelson that we would make a change we make a difference, and we have. And you say 22% is not that significant. Well, in comparison to some of our other larger institutions, J. Sergeant Reynolds nursing enrollments went down by 42%. John Tyler went up only 12.7%. Our closest neighbor, Tidewater, only went up by 19%. Thomas Nelson went up by over 22%. Again, you should be very proud of what you've been able to accomplish here in such a very short time. We've expanded programs at the historic Triangle campus in terms of our nursing programs. But did we stop there? No. Our nursing program, we added additional faculty. But did we stop there? No. We added a full-time lab technician. But did we stop there? No. We made the P14 administrative assistant in the nursing program to a full-time P3 position. But did we stop there? No. Again, making certain that we have a concentration and support of teaching and learning here at the institution. But again, it not only talks about academic support in the academic areas, but student services. And when I say student services, I'm not just talking about the division of student services, I'm talking about student services throughout this entire institution. And it goes through from registration, records, testing, student services, admissions, financial aid, business office, IT, library, accounts payable, physical plant services, etc., etc., etc. Overall, the college's FTE increased by 1.4% from 5,461 to 5,540. But from the 2003-2004 academic year to 2008, Thomas Nelson's overall enrollment grew by over 20% in just a 4-year period. And our FTE, where Charles Newberger mentioned we get our money, our FTE grew by nearly 9%. The exact number is 8.7%. And this is from the BCCS data. Enrollments at the historic Triangle campus increased in that time period and overall nearly 10%. And as you heard today, the enrollment there just this year is up nearly 20%. We're hoping that will remain strong. Enrollment at our Southeast Higher Education Center increased by more than 180% from 68 students to 191 at the end of the spring 2008. Enrollment again. But let me talk about some financial aid for one instance. And people know I've been putting a strong push in terms of financial aid. I want you to look at the number. In 2008, we distributed over $12,500,000. $12 million. But look at the number of where we were in 2004. A little less than $9,400,000. Can you turn on the lights for a second in the audience, please? Seeing if anybody in the studio listening to what I have to say. Thank you. For the people in the financial aid, if you're here in the audience, I want you to stand. And I want you to give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. I wanted them to stand just to take a small moment. Because just imagine, we're talking about our mission here at Thomas Nelson. Imagine, in just 4 years, all the challenges and all the issues with PeopleSoft and all the things that we had to go through. And you know I stood up here and in town hall meetings, put them to the task, pushed them. But just imagine, in just 4 years, we are giving over $3 million more dollars to our students to attend Thomas Nelson. Over $3 million more dollars. And that's just one department. Now you put the lights back down and go back up and down in a minute. But in terms of student services continuing, again, institution-wide, the number of students paying online increased by 40%. That was a commitment on this institution's part to not have students stand in long lines in the business office, but to have them pay online. And that is through a combination of the business office, financial aid, IT, coming together and developing a process so that students can pay online readily, and hopefully that will increase. Career Pathways enrollment increased by 127% from 584 to 1,329. Career Pathways, again, when you're looking at the academic and career and technical education courses that prepare students for continuing education, the Tech Prep Career Pathways program leads to post-secondary credentialing. This also includes an associate and baccalaureate degree or an industry certification for licensure. One of the other issues in terms of dual enrollment, you hear us talking about dual enrollment from 2003-2004, 210 students, approximately 210 to 300 students, and now we're over 2,100 students in 06-07. We went down slightly in 08 because we increased the dollar amount, but today we are testing every single student going through dual enrollment to make certain that they are eligible to take college level course, but also to keep quality of instruction high. We've increased the number of dual enrollment offerings from 60 to 180. Our outreach program, people don't realize we have people doing the outreach, and we created 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, a new outreach and recruitment office. Must be from that department. But we created a recruitment and outreach department because, again, you talked about marketing. We were not getting the information out to the community. We didn't have a recruitment and outreach department. But did we stop there? No. We created and hired a director, but we didn't stop there. We hired new full-time recruiters, but did we stop there? No. We hired career coaches in the schools, but we didn't stop there. We created and hired a dual enrollment coordinator, but did we stop there? No. We provided the resources for them to go out and provide information to the students, the community, and the region. Let me talk about some of the other achievements as it relates to student services, and I'm going to go through these pretty fast. We've added 52 full-time staff positions, which is an increase of 32%. We've made an effort in terms of P14s to P3 full-time conversions. We've increased salaries through the equity in-band adjustment. And it's one of the unique programs here at Thomas Nelson. It's not duplicated at any of the 22 community colleges in the state, only here at Thomas Nelson. That did not happen before 2004. We increased the salaries for faculty. 3 years, we put in a request to increase the salary above the average that was presented through the state board, and in 2 of those years, we were successful. And in 1 of those years, instead of the 5%, Thomas Nelson was afforded the opportunity, and we took advantage of it to increase the salary by 8%. That did not happen before 2004. A number of the IT enhancements were implemented in support. And I'm going to ask you to put up the lights again. Just to keep you busy, just stand near the switch. For all the people in IT, I'm going to ask you to please stand. Don't be shy. I want you to give them a round of applause. The reason, oh, they sat down. I want you to stand back up. Because when I talk to them, I see now they're shy. They don't know what I'm going to say. But if IT, if you could please stand again, because I need you to understand some of the things that the IT department was able to accomplish in the last number of years. The eCampus online placement testing system was rolled out in December. We now have kiosks installed and being used in the Welcome Center. iTunes, podcasting, help desk operation coverage expanded. Continue updating the website. But let me go back just a couple of years to emphasize. People said the enterprise systems group would not work. And people said we're not going to continue. Well, now the enterprise systems group is recognized here throughout the state, and people come to us and asking us how we're doing things. But I'll give you a couple. But let me just highlight some things, because people tend to forget where we've come from and as we move forward. Just 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, the IT department cleaned up 150,000 students that needed to be discontinued, 1,200 records that needed to be deleted, over 800 table validation errors needed to be corrected, several hundred records in continuing education that were corrupted. Over 2,620 pieces of corrupted data was cleaned up. $3 million in outstanding student charges in PeopleSoft were corrected and put into the system. Over 407 records and third-party contracts needed to be cleaned up. And the list goes on and on and on. But I want people to understand why all those things were being cleaned up. We implemented new PeopleSoft upgrades, new PeopleSoft records, and in working with IT, the business office, financial aid, all the different departments, we were able to have an increase in enrollment, an increase in financial aid, an increase in registration, because it takes everyone working together. Thank you very much. My last two things in terms of student services. A part of our mission and a part of our goal, again, is providing high quality education for our region and for our state and for our citizens. We have a TRIO program here that we applied for in terms of a federal grant to provide 160 students who are first generation low income. And the program has been very, very successful. In our first year, we had a 100% success rate in maintaining the 160 students. These are students who, for the very first time in their family, are going to school here at Thomas Nelson, and that's a great program. But again, let me move on to workforce development, because it's one of the jewels here at Thomas Nelson. You can put the lights back down. She's not going to stand near the switch, okay. Thomas Nelson, again, in terms of business and industry, is a key player in the economic development efforts here in Virginia, particularly in the peninsula. It is essential for Thomas Nelson to set strategic goals in response to the growth of the communities here that we serve. We must be able to explore the opportunities and adapt to the change quickly. This is fast-paced, external environment, and most importantly, respond to the needs of our students. As an organization, we recognize that everyone plays a role in the future education here at this college. We've increased credit and non-credit workforce development enrollment by 15% to support employers' needs. Contract credit was at 752, increased by 52% over fiscal year 2007. Workforce development served over 1,057 employers in fiscal year 2008. That was a 32% increase over 2007. We've also expanded staff and created locations at the military bases as well. Let me talk about institutional support. Institutional support on behalf of the faculty, staff, and students here at Thomas Nelson. The college administration extends a sincere gratitude to the Virginia legislation because they supported us, and mainly because their continued support entitled or enabled Thomas Nelson to be very successful in acquiring additional funds. Our college board, our foundation, students, faculty, staff, administrators traveled to Richmond numerous times meeting with our legislators. Again, they saw an entire institution working together for a common cause for the success of Thomas Nelson. because we're committed to improving the quality of life for our citizens here on the peninsula and also for our students here at Thomas Nelson. We received institutional support from the legislation in terms of funding for the equipped historic Triangle campus facility, $2.9 million to equip a facility to house a dental hygiene program, a newly renovated photography lab opened in Diggs Hall in 2007, which is a part of a $3.7 million post-ISS 2 building renovation. We renovated 5 biophysics labs. And for all those who work and live and play in Hastings, they had heat and air conditioning this year that was working. You mean I didn't get an applause for that? The college also extends an appreciation to the foundation, our foundation board, the donors, internal and external, and also the community supporters for their continual support and commitment to the mission of this college. Our foundation took a turn, a positive turn, in working with the administration here at Thomas Nelson. We have been leasing the Hampton 3 building for numerous years. We could have paid for the building 3 times over. But through our legislation and the foundation, the legislation provided us the money, but the building was going to go on the chopping block. Our foundation stepped forward and purchased the building in advance and put the money up to the tune of $4.3 million and stated, we make a commitment to Thomas Nelson. It turned out in a positive way because the state realized instead of putting out additional lease dollars for years, the state, with the support of the faculty, staff, the students, and administrators going to Richmond, the state said we're going to buy the building. And so only from the foundation stepping forward to make certain that building stay a part of Thomas Nelson did the legislation give us the funds, were able to give us the funds to move forward. And again, moving in a positive direction. But the foundation also did something even better. You've noticed that people have been building houses around Thomas Nelson. The foundation said we didn't want to be landlocked. So in back of Griffin, near the basketball and the tennis courts, that property there, the foundation said, we eventually want to build one day an athletic facility here on this campus. We need additional land. The foundation stepped forward and purchased that land. So we now have land for potential additional buildings here, and hopefully that will come to the possibility in the future. We received contributions to the Thomas Nelson Education Foundation totaling more than nearly $500,000, $450,000. Investment earnings grew from $526,000 in 2006 to $989,000 in 2007. Significant investment. We have a very active foundation board and it's expanding. We also expanded alumni affairs activities and alumni programs, and that's going to continue as well. Let me move quickly to the historic Triangle campus. There's been significant developments in the historic Triangle campus, and we anticipate the opening of the new campus in 2009. For the historic Triangle, we will continue with our efforts to increase resources, offer classes, and hire faculty. And here are some of the photos that have been taken. And again, as Dr. Travis mentioned, the provost, he will have 2 sessions throughout the week to go over the historic Triangle campus. But again, it's a part of our mission to provide quality education and services and programs. And again, moving to the historic Triangle campus, building the building. But I want people to understand it was a struggle. 4 years ago, even though we're moving up to the historic Triangle campus in James City County, 4 years ago, we did not have land to build the campus. People don't realize that. We did not have a place to build it. We did not have a contract with James City County and the state. More importantly, because of growth in terms of steel, construction. We did not have all the money necessary to even build a 120,000 square foot building. But because of efforts of people talking to the legislation, going back and forth to Richmond, going back and forth to the community, we were able to get from the legislation the additional $8-point-some million to make certain that we build a state-of-the-art quality first building, 120,000 square feet. We didn't have to scale back, cut back. We actually got the dollars, but in addition, we also were able to successfully negotiate an agreement with James City County and the state. We now have the land, we now have the infrastructure, we now have the roads. And James City County, I want to personally thank them. They have put in over $13 million in infrastructure, roads, parking lots, water, sewer, electricity to this site for their commitment to Thomas Nelson because they believe in what we're doing. And we also received the entire $5.6 million to put in equipment for the historic Triangle campus, and the legislation approved that this year. We have, though, and I gave you this history to let you know that we are, as an institution, we have challenges, we've had challenges, but we've been able to move past those challenges. And today we have, and will continue to have, some challenges as we respond to the growth in terms of registration. But we must also explore and adapt to the changes that are facing us. We have changing demographics here at Thomas Nelson, and this is according to a general report by the College Board Online to 1990, and also a more recent one. Today's college students are more likely to be racially and ethnically diverse, over 25 years of age, female, attending part-time school, etc., etc. Well, that's a little outdated. Just a little. Our students are getting younger here at Thomas Nelson, if you haven't noticed. And that's not only because of the demographics change, because we are in the high schools now bringing students to Thomas Nelson. Thomas Nelson is not a third or fourth or fifth choice. Many students, Thomas Nelson is their first choice. And they're coming here to Thomas Nelson in record numbers. Attending high school part-time, 80%, 80% of our students are part-time, and that will continue as the economy continues to get more difficult. They'll continue to commute. Technology innovations, we have to prepare for our students who are technologically advanced. How many of you in this room feel that you can text faster than your 13-year-old? While they are watching TV, talking on the phone, listening to music on their iPod in one ear, while they're also at the same time driving. Scary thought. But our students coming nowadays are not looking for how they were taught 5 years ago. They are a technologically advanced individual, 6-year-old, 5-year-old, 7-year-olds, 9-year-olds, working on the computer, text messaging their friends. You talk about email, talk to a teenager, they say email is too slow. We as an institution must adapt and change to this new technology that's happening. Visual, they want to see pictures, graphics, full motion video. Those are things that are going to be challenging to us. And for some of us, it is a scary thought. To some of us, it's a scary thought, but we need to adapt and change. Opening the new historic Triangle campus is going to be a scary thought as well. Because it's new, it's different, it's a change. But again, with staffing, programs, operational costs, startup costs, it's great possibilities, great opportunities. We're going to have some limited funding resources from the state, but I want you to understand that even this last year, where we had to cut nearly 930, what was the number? You can yell it out. 937 something thousand dollars. Thank you. We were able to come up with a balanced budget this year. And we're starting off this year with a balanced budget. The thing that scares me the most is the slow growth of the economy. We're in some difficult times here at Thomas Nelson. The economic growth could be the slowest in the past 5 to 10 years. The unemployment rate already is looking to rise, and businesses are expected to cut back and continue to cut back. That's the scary part. But for the community college here at Thomas Nelson, it is even more critical today that we prepare for those individuals who are coming to us to look for opportunities for change. And we are in a time that is more critical for community colleges because people know if you follow, when the economy goes down, community college enrollment goes up. We need to be prepared for those individuals. Just the cost of gas alone in terms of driving. People were saying we were ingenious when we decided to put the historic Triangle campus in this location. In terms of driving down 64, coming here between Hampton and the historic Triangle campus, that's going to be a blessing in disguise for many, many individuals, not only in terms of James City County, Williamsburg, but also for Kent County, Gloucester, etc., etc. Last but not least, one of the other challenges when the Iraq and Afghanistan war ends, and you've already seen it change, we're going to have more veterans coming back, especially with the GI Bill, I say GI Bill in terms of age, the new Veterans Bill being passed for individuals being able to go to school full-time, fully paid. Let me just end with a couple of things. And this is a quote that Ralph Waldo Emerson quoted, but I didn't pick it out. And I told her I was going to steal this from her. This is from Christine Forrest. She mentioned it during the Meta commencement. It states, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." That's profound. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. Let me, as a part of the emphasize the mission statement again. And it emphasized here, and I gave you that Ralph Waldo Emerson speech, or the statement, because what you and what we do every day means a lot to this college. And I tried through the slides to emphasize to you how important we are to this community. Everyone at Thomas Nelson is valued, and I personally appreciate what you have contributed to reaching our goals and accomplishing our mission. People say, I'm not sure what our vision is. Well, as I said years ago, and I'll say it again, we need to fulfill our mission. That means continue to make college affordable, increase and reach our community so that students can use higher education for our purpose. At the same time, be creative and boldly go. Distance education, we were one of the lowest in terms of offering distance education. That's why you see an increase of 340% in such a short period of time. Giving $3 million more in terms of financial aid. But again, it's everyone's input that makes a difference. I emphasize to you, you've heard me say it before, what we do and what you do in this audience every day means a difference to the students in this community. You need to understand that. It makes a lot of difference to this community and to individuals. Everyone here at Thomas Nelson, you've heard me say this before, everyone is valued here. And I appreciate every single thing that you do because I understand the importance of it. especially when I'm standing on stage and watching the grandmothers walk by, the single parents walk by, the individuals who are the first in their families walk by, the individuals who were on the soup line 3 years before walking across stage that day. You are making a difference. And I personally appreciate your contributions to Thomas Nelson. But as I want to also emphasize to you, and I've said this before, and taking the lines of what matters, what lies within us, we must respect one another and appreciate everyone's contribution. We must respect one another and appreciate everyone's contribution. I've said this publicly, and I say it again. And I've said it in Washington, matter of fact, in Washington, D.C. I said it a couple of weeks ago when I went to the AACC conference, and I also said it in Richmond. We have a quality faculty here that has a commitment to quality instruction. I've said that publicly, and I will say it here again. We have a dedicated staff here that's committed to our students in this region. We have an administrative group here that's committed to being great stewards of our finances and being supportive of the mission of this institution. We all play a critical role here, and it is extremely important that we appreciate every single thing that the individuals here are doing, because you are making a major difference here. Just imagine a 20% increase in enrollment in a matter of just 4 years. You're making a difference. New programs, new technology, responding to business and industry, the number of businesses that we're responding to. And I'll say these few things and then I'll come to an end. Let me just show you a slide and a video of some of the great things that we've done here at Thomas Nelson and the people who make it possible. And I'm sure this video will work because they said they worked on it 6 in the morning. And she's queuing it up now. And all of that was done in-house. And again, I show you this because we have fun here at Thomas Nelson. We sometimes tend to forget that. And we're able to do a lot of great things. And again, teaching any place, anywhere, at any time. And I'll end by saying this. The facts show that Thomas Nelson is a better place. You can leave the lights on. Thank you. The facts show that Thomas Nelson is better today than it was even just 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Thomas Nelson is fulfilling its mission, providing high-quality, affordable, and accessible post-secondary education. Whether you believe in me as president or my leadership, things have gotten better. Whether you believe in the staff or not, whether you believe in the faculty or not, whether you believe in the administration or not, or the administration or leadership, the facts show that we are a great institution that is valued in this community and is a value to this community. We help improve the quality of life for the citizens we serve, and at this point in time in our society, this in itself, excuse me, is even more important today, and we must realize that. The college has come a long way. From 40 years ago, we're celebrating our 40th anniversary. If you think we have challenges today, ask those individuals who were here 30, 40 years ago when they had carbon paper. For those who remember carbon paper. For those who remember whiteout, when they're trying to put together some of their syllabus. The old copy machine that you had to crank. We as an institution have come a long way. We have our challenges externally and internally. We've had challenges then, but we overcame those challenges. We will have challenges tomorrow, but we will face them together. We must stay strong together. Again, we must respect and appreciate what every individual is doing here at this institution. Come together and stay together. We must continue to work together and remain committed to excellence. Let me emphasize, remain committed to excellence and committed to the cause of our mission for our students to be successful, not only now but also in the future for this great nation. And it is a great nation. I'll continue to emphasize excellence in all we do. I am very delighted that you're here today. We have a great mission, we have great accomplishments, and we are going to continue to boldly go where no one has gone before. We not only owe it to ourselves, but we owe it to this region, to the people that we serve. Thank you, and have a great semester.
This in the mail, and I believe there's some other copies outside. You've already heard from the constituent leadership. There will be meetings at the CSSA today from 11 to 12 in Gators. You'll be able to pick up your box lunch and enjoy that while you're having your meeting. The faculty forum will meet today in Diggs Hall 100, beginning at 1 p.m., 1 to 3 today. Mid-level managers will also meet today in Hastings Hall at 426, beginning at 12, from 12 to 2. There will be a number of different professional development workshops offered throughout the week, today, beginning this afternoon, tomorrow, Wednesday, and then also on Thursday. New employees are invited to attend a luncheon in your honor on Friday at lunchtime. And just a reminder, on the schedule, you'll see that several of the workshops are offered at different times over multiple days, the same session. So one in particular you want to keep a lookout for and make sure you attend at some point during the week is a workshop on the new FERPA standards, and in particular, the rights of parents of dependent children to receive information, even their adult college students, that is not something that has generally been part of the FERPA before. So that is a mandatory requirement that every faculty and staff member attend at some point during the week the FERPA session. The first FERPA session is offered today from 12:45 to 1:45 here in the auditorium. But it will also be offered again tomorrow from 4 to 5 in Espada. Also on Thursday from 9 to 10 a.m. in Diggs Hall 100. And then the last session will be offered from 3 to 4 p.m. on Thursday the 21st, also in Diggs Hall 100. So make sure you take an opportunity to review that. We've been able to do our job, Mike. We kept everybody on schedule. Actually, we're letting you out a little ahead of time. And we just wanted to thank everyone for coming. We have a couple of observations for you, if you'll permit us just a moment to share those with you, and then we'll be done.
No need to sit. Stand if you've been sitting. I just want to say, 36 convocations now. I always look forward to coming to convocation. There's an excitement, there's hope, there's energy, there's commitment towards moving forward. People are glad to see one another again. And that spirit, I hope we can carry with us through the year. I hope that we'll all be able to reach out to somebody maybe we don't know, or somebody maybe we're disappointed in, and share some disappointment with each other. Get beyond that and ask each other. And I invite you, friends, to ask each other and people maybe you don't know how you can help them and they can help you serve the most important people, who are the people coming on Saturday next week. The ones who start populating our classrooms Saturday morning, who put their lives, their income, their free time, their sanity, their minds in our hands with great hopes. You are cool. You are so cool that I knew I had to bring some shades even to hang with you. And I wish you all a great year. If we keep focused on the student, we can get past anything that's a blip on our screen at this point. There's nothing that provides collaboration and a spirit of working together than a shared focus, and we all know who they are. Have a great year.